Hey everybody, Ben Hanson from MinnMax's here. I am here to figure out what's going on with Half-Life by literally opening my browser and seeing how this works. Alright, I guess Twitter?
Alright, so okay, here I found the trailer. We're thrilled to announce Half-Life Alyx, a new full-length entry in the Half-Life series built by Valve for VR. Oh, floating hands.
Looks like VR, alright.
It's just like that VR can't seem to get around that.
Alyx?
Looks like Half-Life, alright.
I'm here.
Okay,
So
sounds
what's
like...
the plan?
If we can get this weapon,
Oh, this is
what
exciting.
we're doing here could change things forever.
There's no straight shot to the vault. I'm gonna head inside, find a way out.
Got it.
Puzzle solving?
I'm with you
Okay.
every step of the way.
Is that
You're gonna need a gun.
Murray from
Don't worry, it's unloaded.
Flight of the Conchords?
It's unloaded now.
We got jokes.
I like that there's humor in there. Because Half-Life's not a very
I'll
funny
find
series,
Kevin's
but
really
Portal
picking up.
is.
They know you're coming. You need to get out of here now.
Oh, cool. Okay.
She holds it up.
Moving stuff around to get to things. Okay.
Oh God.
They've got Dad.
They're gonna find out what
Obviously
he knows,
she's talking, that's
and then
crazy.
They're gonna kill him.
Okay.
All this is my fault. I never told you. I couldn't. I'm so sorry, baby.
You will not save him. Alyx stands alone cannot prevent his fate.
Close your eyes, honey.
So this is pre-Half-Life 2 then? If her dad's around and talking to her.
What a thin font.
Oh, wow.
March 2020. That's pretty crazy. Playable on Steam VR, compatible hardware including Valve Index, Vive, Oculus, Windows Mixed Reality. That's really interesting. I really like this one shot. Like, the environment here is awesome.
Man, I'm into it. The VR angle of it. Oh, Oculus. Okay, that's good. The VR angle of it is still, I still would rather be a regular shooter. Like the VR element of the trailer isn't particularly exciting to me, like the floating hands and stuff like that.
Please, Kyle, have something smart to say about the lore. Please, Kyle, have something smart to say about the lore.
It's weird that like the thing that I'm kind of excited about is that it's funny. That character seems genuinely funny. There was a sequence there where it looked like Alyx was recharging herself while peeking around corners and shooting and stuff like that. That's really cool. I like that a lot. Did they recast Alyx and her dad? They sound different.
They've got Dad.
God, he looks a lot different. And he sounds a lot different too, right?
This is my fault. I never told you. I couldn't. I'm so sorry, baby.
Genuinely excited for that. It's so awesome to see the sort of the Half-Life city again in this sort of next generation of visuals too. G-Man looks great. I still don't know if I feel like this is Half-Life 3, but it's more Half-Life stuff, so I'm super on board.
Obviously, super exciting to see Valve creating content again, creating games. The fact that they include a joke in the first trailer for new Half-Life, I am a big fan of, and I wonder how much they're pulling developers from Valve into this that haven't worked on Half-Life before. Obviously, Campo Santo, a lot of funny people there. I'm a big fan of the Idle Thumbs podcast, so naturally I'm rooting for those folks. But even like Steve Jaros, who was the creative director for Saints Row, he's been working on things forever at Valve, so hey, he has a sense of humor. I wonder how much it says at this halflife.com. A VR return to Half-Life. Not a complete return to Half-Life. Ooh. Good scroll down. We got the trailer. Set between the events of Half-Life and Half-Life 2. I like the screenshot just of her hands. Oh, that's some good detail. That's like the best techie hand detail I've ever seen in VR. Lore. I want to learn about the development. Come on. Tear a head crab off your face and throw it out the window is a sentence. Play on any Steam VR system. That's very nice that they're so open. I noticed that on the Steam store on the front page, if you go to the top selling list, Valve Index VR Kit is #1, which, you know, they could juice that if they really want to, but I think that's really interesting that just with the announcement, even before the trailer, that was already up there. Already own Valve Index, you get Half-Life Alyx for free. I would hope so, but that's really cool. Ooh, what is this? Community-built environments available via Steam Workshop. A set of Source 2 tools for building new levels will be available for the game, enabling any player to build and contribute new environments for the community to enjoy. Hammer, Valve's level authoring system, has been updated with all the game's virtual reality gameplay tools and components. All right, I love it. More of the community aspect. It is interesting and notable that, like, you know, there's been so much speculation, and Gabe Newell even saying, like, I think we're done with single-player games here at Valve, so the fact that this seems single-player is interesting, and hopefully what's interesting that, like, the twist then is the community-built environments will still allow for some cool, funky, new age Valve stuff. Very cool. Okay, next stop in trying to learn about this. But let's go back to Twitter, and I want to see what one of my favorite people in the industry, Jake Rodkin, says, see if he's saying that he's working on this. No tweet from him yet, but something notable that people noticed is that all the people that were working on In the Valley of the Gods, like the Firewatch team from Campo Santo, recently they all scrubbed In the Valley of the Gods from their Twitter profile, saying, oh, there's a designer at Valve, ambiguous designer, right? Which I think is pretty revealing that In the Valley of the Gods is not on track. And I know it was at GDC last year, and I saw Chris Remo give a presentation there, and he had a screenshot for In the Valley of the Gods at the end. And at that time, it was announced as a 2019 game. And then the final slide was just a screenshot for In the Valley of the Gods, and then it said, coming 20XX. So it was like an implied delay there, and now, just based off that Twitter hearsay, certainly seems like it is in a bit of a limbo. People seem excited. I want dev details. Oh, wait a minute. There's a final hours from Geoff Keighley about this game, about Half-Life Alyx. All right, I gotta watch that now.
And right here on floor 14, just off the lobby, for the past few years, a team of more than 50 folks at Valve have been working in absolute secrecy building this project. They're working on it right here now. I've been up here quietly over the past couple of years, chronicling the development of that game.
Past couple of years? That's crazy. Geoff Keighley, that phone in front of you? You could have a notebook. A little classier. Yeah, watching Geoff Keighley's final hours is really interesting. He has 3 people from Valve talking about the game. He has Dario Casali, Robin Walker, and David Sparer, who all go back to the early days of Half-Life and Valve. It's interesting to see 3 old-timers, because obviously everybody says, oh, you know, Laidlaw left, therefore are there any old-timers from Valve even left to work on Half-Life? And it's interesting that, hey, here we have 3 that are ready to go and talk about it on camera. Obviously with Valve, they don't have concrete roles for everybody, so it's unclear who's directing it, who's producing it, you know, the whole flat ecosystem and stuff. In that discussion, they talk about, you know, why it's not Half-Life 3, and they mentioned that, oh, you know, Half-Life 3 would be such a big challenge. It's too intimidating, obviously, but, quote, VR was a way of fooling ourselves into believing that we could make a game without just making it impossible and impossibly huge with huge expectations. They're not ruling out making a flat version, a non-VR version in the future, but they say, like, the point of this project, the way it started was after developing the lab in 2016, then they started working on it as a full VR game, so it'd be tough to separate like that. Speaking of the scope of the game, it's a $60 game on Steam. It implies it's quite large. And also they talk about how it's doing some really interesting things on the narrative front. In fact, in the final hours, they say that, it's doing some narrative work that's better than anything Valve's ever done. Hey, super exciting. Turns out Campo Santo and some of those former Idle Thumbs folks are working on a new Half-Life, which is amazing. Geoff Keighley phrased it in an interesting way in that video where he said that Campo Santo is involved, which is nice. Not like they're leading the development or anything. They've probably just been absorbed into that team, if I had to guess. Also, Jay and Eric Wolpa, who there's a lot of rumors about, is he in Valve? Is he back out of Valve? Is he back in? Turns out that he's working on Half-Life as well. So it'll be fun to see Wolpa, who, you know, wrote Psychonauts, obviously, you know, worked on Portal, stuff like that. So now he gets to write for a Half-Life game, which is super exciting. Geoff Keighley, I appreciate the quick final hours video here. He says that there's more behind the scenes stuff coming in 2020, but, you know, I appreciate his access, and I appreciate him always asking really blunt questions about, like, why isn't this Half-Life 3? When are we going to learn more about what else you guys are working on? I think he's really great on that front. So it's worth a watch if you want to learn some backstory without revealing too much, because obviously he wants to save some for his final hours next year. Thanks so much for watching this reaction video from MinnMax. We're a Patreon. You can find us at patreon.com/MinnMax2Ns. New episode of the MinnMax Show, our main podcast, went live today. There's a lot of fun chat about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Pokemon Sword and Shield. Game Pass, and then a ton of community submissions for questions, comments that all come from our Patreon page. So if you like this type of content, please let us know in the comments and we'll make more of it in the future. Thanks so much, everybody.
Content like this is supported by the community on patreon.com/MinnMax.
And if you continue to support us and you're here long enough, you can even eventually hear me talk about Breath of the Wild 2.
Check us out. Thank you so much.